Absolutely excited for it. And something else we're excited for is September being AFib Awareness Month. Atrial fibrillation, or AFib, is the most common heart rhythm disorder, and it can greatly increase your risk of stroke.
Joining us live is Amy Stahley, the Dean of Health Professions at Davenport University, and also a board member with the American Heart Association. Joining us live, not only because you're here to kind of educate us about AFib, but you've also had your own journey with AFib as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you for having me today. My journey with AFib was that of knowing or feeling my symptoms. I would say 62% of people who have AFib do not know that they have symptoms. For me, I was not feeling good. It was almost sudden, a really, really fast heartbeat and just sudden shortness of breath, started to get dizzy. And then I thought, oh, this is not right. So I get my trusty stethoscope out because I'm a nurse and listen to my rhythm, and I could hear it.
Wow.
So it's like, it was a matter of 15 minutes.
Wow.
And it was sudden, very sudden.
So we'll get to your own journey here, but for those at home, I know we kind of said atrial fibrillation, but like, what is that? What do people need to know about atrial fibrillation at home?
So AFib is, I'll call it very simplistic terms, is like a quivering of the atria or the atrium, the top chambers of the heart. And it's not that the ventricles, the bottom part does not push, but it quivers. So it's not effectively pumping out the blood. So then you have an increased opportunity for stroke because the blood just stays there. So that's a very high possibility of possible stroke, as well as you have just decreased oxygen to your body. So you can get dizzy, not feel as good, just overall just not feeling good.
Yeah, we've got some information on your screen. It's the most common rhythm disorder. Like you were talking about, higher risk of stroke, in fact, 5 times higher.
Right.
And 62%, like you said, they don't even know they've got it.
They don't even know they have it.
So why do you think it is that that's such a high number of people who don't know that they even have AFib?
So they may not be as symptomatic. They may not have the dizziness, or they may attribute, oh, I just don't feel as good, but oh, I've had a stressful week. So they are not really paying attention to the symptoms. Things that they can look at amongst themselves. Do I have a family member that has had a history of AFib? What are my risks? What's my weight? What's my blood pressure? Those types of things all contribute to getting AFib.
Yeah, we're looking at on your screen some symptoms. You mentioned not feeling very good, just the general tiredness. You had that shortness of breath, feeling anxious, and the weakness there. Those are all symptoms there. And of course, we see some things that commonly overlap with other conditions that you may have, right? Absolutely.
So it's a matter of knowing your numbers, paying attention to how you're feeling. Don't feel bad about connecting with your physician, nurse practitioner, whoever, just to go over these symptoms. Many people go for their physical, and it's like, oh my gosh, do you know that your rhythm is AFib? And they're shocked.
Whoa.
Wow.
It's that simple to find out too, isn't it?
Apple Watches these days can detect AFib.
Wow. And that's an important feature. You know, people take some of that technology for granted too. You know, let's dive into your story because I understand this happened at the beginning of 2025. Just tell us in your own words what you were feeling.
So actually, it was a reset at 2025. Even 2 years before that was my initial event, and that event was what I described earlier. Just was headed to bed, not feeling well, and it happened. So went to the hospital. They tried medications. They tried the typical medications to see if they could get you out of that rhythm. They're saying, Amy, we're not getting you out of this rhythm. Then let's go into cardioversion. So cardioversion is where they shock your heart to get you back in a rhythm. And I was fortunate to get back into a rhythm. 2 years later was my next event. And that's what I had, that event. And then a week later, I had another event. And a week later, I had another event. And my cardiologist said, you know, Amy, you're a prime candidate for an ablation. Consider it. We can continue with the medications consider the ablation. So I did.
It's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those who don't know maybe at home, what is an ablation? Can you talk about that?
Sure. There are several types of ablation. The one that I had was a pulse field ablation, and so that's a radio frequency. What that does, it goes into the veins up the top of the heart to scramble up the information. The ablation does that. Now there's cold ablation and hot ablation. That used to be the traditional way of doing it, and so it interrupts those signals to have more of a normal signal to the heart. So it's an outpatient procedure. It's done through your cardiologist, and there's a lot more detail to it, but that's what it is in a overhead nutshell.
Well, we're glad that that procedure is working for you, because I mean, it's got to be a scary process to even, one, figure out that you have, and then going through it, and then going through the procedure, you've got to just be in your head about it as it's all happening.
So with AFib, that diagnosis stays with you. You will always have the AFib diagnosis. So you're never promised that this is an absolute cure. Some people, they have the ablation and they're fine for 10 years. It's just a matter of trying to keep your risks down and listening to your body even after having these pieces done.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what people should think about when they're having symptoms? Should they go see a doctor right away if they have any of these symptoms that you're describing?
So I look at it as, how are you feeling with it? For me, I could not even walk 20 feet because I was so symptomatic. But if you're like, okay, I'm just not really feeling good, and this is consistent, make a call, make an appointment, absolutely. But if you're in that situation where, hey, this is just not right, I'm just not feeling well, I can't catch my breath, never question yourself. Always go to the emergency room and get it checked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are some of the risks associated with leaving AFib untreated?
So the major risk is stroke. That's the major risk, but it can lead to increased issues with your heart, permanent heart issues with that.
What would be your message to anyone watching this at home? Maybe they don't have symptoms, and you said some people can be asymptomatic. Is there a message of maybe make sure you're following up on these checkups, or making sure you're going to see your doctor regularly about this?
Manage other potential health risks that could lead to it. Find out about your family history. Manage your high blood pressure. Don't just poo-poo it off, if you will. But manage those items, manage your weight, be active. And that doesn't mean that you have to go to the gym, 20 times a week, but just be active. And then, yes, have your physicals. And if you're feeling any of these things, don't feel bad about checking them out.
Yeah. Part of the reason why you're sharing your story is, like we said, you are a board member of the American Heart Association here locally in Grand Rapids. And you're getting ready to kind of join us at the Heart Walk in just a couple of weeks.
At Aquinas.
We're excited for that here because, some of our team members here are going to be a part of the Heart Walk as well. You have actually been raising some funds and kind of helping Heart Walk out. So tell us about your experience with Heart Walk.
Since I've been on the board, the Heart Walk was just reinstituted last year because we had COVID and some other things that we didn't have the walk. But the Heart Walk is just such a fun day for people to clamor together, tell their story, because there's a lot of survivors who tell their story, and it's like, wow, I'm not alone here. There's so many stories, and just it's just a way to come together as a community, walk for the cause, and then have some fun with it too.
Yeah, absolutely. As we kind of wrap up here, any last thoughts about AFib or anything like that? What is your main point to people as you tell your story?
So as I tell my story, with what all I am saying and the things that I had gone through, it may seem like a very scary situation, but know that there are healthcare providers within our community that walk you through this, and just really listen to your body and seek out that healthcare provider who will assist you with it. Again, wonderful people within our community, cardiologists, nurses.
All right, well, we
Fantastic.
appreciate your
Yeah,
time
thank
this
you for
morning. And
having
thank you
me.
so much for sharing. I know sometimes health things can be very difficult
Yeah.
to share, especially on the air like this, so we appreciate your time this morning.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.